Good morning and welcome to What People Miss. This podcast is about having conversations based on the quote by Mozart, where he says, "The music is not in the notes, but the silence between them." And so I invite you into conversations about the subtleties that we miss in life. I'm your host, Cordelia Gaffar, the ultimate joy goddess, inviting you to choose joy and pleasure so that you actually love your life. And I do that by offering my 13-week experience, which I call Let's Play with Intimacy. So you reveal yourself to yourself so that you can reveal yourself to those you love. Today, I'm so excited to share with you another beautiful being in my world. And I I love that she's a storyteller, she's a mother, she's a wife, and a top DC realtor, developer, and creative visionary. As the co-producer and co-writer of The Renaissance, she pours her love for the arts into crafting stories that reflect culture, struggles, and triumphs in fresh and exciting ways. And that's how I had the joy of meeting her. I call her the joy of meeting a multidimensional being. She's a Black woman navigating both business and creativity. And we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what that looks like. And so, with no further ado, I present to you Ericka S. Black. Well,
Hi.
hi. Happy morning. How are
Happy.
you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate you making the offer. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So, Ericka, I'm so curious, where did it all begin?
I would say, honestly, I'm from a two-stoplight town called Rich Square. And I grew up in this little tiny house. Like the houses that they're now styling as a big deal, they're like, oh, the tiny house. You can use this to make extra money. I actually grew up in one of those houses. It was probably 800 or less square feet, 2 bedroom. And my bed was by the window growing up. And I would just always look up at the stars at night and just dream.
Hmm.
And so I remember that from early on, just dreaming of just something better, something bigger. And so I would say it all started there. And my favorite scripture is I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And that's carried with me through childhood. And so I was just always just strive to do more and excel at whatever it is. So I would say it started there, just in infancy, like literally being connected with the universe and looking up at the stars.
Wow. Yeah. You know, connecting with the stars, I totally resonate with that. When I was a little kid, I always wondered what was out there, what more is there, and how can I
Mhm.
connect better with my Lord, as you mentioned. So, when did you decide that, when did you decide to get into real estate?
So once upon a time,
Yay,
not
here we
long
go.
ago, no, let me stop. So essentially, I thought that I wanted to be an attorney, and part of it is my family will always pick at me. They're like, "Oh, she's always trying to argue something, and she just talks so much." And will you sit down and be quiet? Blah blah blah. You're gonna be a lawyer, And so I kind of took on that. I'm like, I guess I could be a lawyer, but then in being a lawyer, I was like, no, but I don't want to be a hardcore down your throat. Like I wanted to be a family attorney because I believe in the family and the family. I was like, yeah, I could be a family attorney. So my freshman year in college, I decided to do an internship. Um, my roommate's father is an attorney, and he allowed me to intern in his office over the summer. And while there, he had a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it
Oh,
was just on his bookcase. And I was like, you know what? Let me check this out. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad while doing that internship in his office, and it changed my life. I was like, I do not want to be the poor. I don't want to be the poor dad. I want to be the rich dad. And so from there, every coin that I saved was towards purchasing my first home. So while in college, I was able to buy a couple of places, just from being inspired from that book. So that's what really peaked in the journey as far as real estate. And later on, I became a realtor because I was like, well, that's one way to get a bulk of money that I can keep on investing. So I won't have to be that poor dad. And so that's where the real estate component came from. So that book really, like that book changed that internship, him
Wow,
having that book, it changed my life, the trajectory and where I was going. That's a
that's
true
amazing.
story. Yeah,
Wow, I love
yeah.
that. Yeah,
I
and,
was so inspired.
many people read that book and, their lives are changed, and then there are a few that read the book and, you know, their lives are
Yeah,
unchanged. So,
yeah.
but
I was just, like, so inspired. I was like, "What?" And it's such it's an easy read,
it
and
is.
it was I don't know. It was just, timing, like, God allowed that internship to happen. He allowed me to see that book, and I just went for it. So sometimes it's just taking opportunities and just seizing the moment on whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So you also, I guess, found out that being an attorney is not for you.
Yeah. It's like I can just do this. I do have my master's in public administration. At that time, becoming a politician was a dream of mine.
Okay.
I was like, okay, what's the best way? Okay, if I do public administration, I'll have like all the knowledge and the background that I need. So prior to um being like a full-time real estate agent, I worked in politics. So my background prior to this was working for a governor. I worked for the North Carolina governor, and I worked for a North Carolina senator. So what launched me into becoming an agent full time is I got tired of, okay, if you lose your election, that means I have to find a new job every time.
Yes.
I didn't like that. So I decided, hey, I'm just gonna continue down the path that I know, and I know real estate. So let me just go out and just be a full time real estate agent. And so that's what I did. But my prior background is politics, and I also have ran and won office
Okay.
here locally. DC has advisory neighborhood commissioners, and you have to get on the ballot, you have to canvas, you have to do the whole 9 yards. And so I was actually on the ballot with Obama.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I was on the same. That's so crazy. Yeah, I was on the same ballot. I actually won. That was something I was able to achieve. That was like something I always wanted to do, run for office, and I may do it again in the pub in the possible future in another role. I've thought about it.
I'm thinking about it already for you. I think I might be
Yeah, I
rolling
was
onto
thinking
your
about it
plate.
the other day. I was like, you know what? Maybe, but it was a little stressful because you're peopling.
Yeah.
Peopling is stressful.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How
Yeah.
is people what's been your experience of peopling?
It's just with peopling, when people initially meet me, they're like, "Oh, she's just a sweetheart," and I have the accent because I'm from North Carolina, and so it's just the way that people sometimes receive me, and also, um, just like the aura that I have about me. I genuinely love on people, and I love giving back, and I love helping people. So if you have a need and you're in my circle, it's like, no, how do I help her? How do I help him? And so I find a challenge with that because some people they either take advantage of you or they just don't know how to receive what you're offering. So people feel that you're taking advantage, want to take advantage of them, or like she got to have something up her sleeve. And it's so no, it's just genuinely how God made me. He
Yeah.
made me this way, and it's to love, and it's to help other people. And it's just always been that way, which is how I ended up with my my major in college that I share with you in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is, that is, I just wanna say this. It's interesting, last week, my guest was talking about, we were talking about the frequency of love, and I just wanna give space to there are people that actually love people, you
Yeah.
know? And, for people who have maybe been tortured as children, um, it may seem like an anomaly or something you only see in movies, but I just wanna give presence that there are genuine people that love people and wanna
Yeah.
help you and support you, so if you ever come across someone if you ever come across specifically Ericka S. Black, recognize and know that, she's someone who actually loves people and open yourself to receiving that. So, this is
Yeah.
something that people miss, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely someone it was a couple of weeks ago I posted online. They're like, "Why are you so nice? Why are you so kind?" And it's just like, why shouldn't I be? I don't understand. And like I shouldn't be the nicest, kindest person in your life. Like other people need to share and other people need to be nice and kind. Like why do we need to be so mean and crude to each other? It doesn't help. We're all in this universe together. So we can at least smile or, say hello or whatever it is, to help someone along their journey. You don't know what that smile could do for someone and what they're going through.
Yeah. We're all on
Yeah.
the same team, we're humans.
We're human. Team human. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for
Mhm,
sharing that. So, I wanna talk a little bit about how we met. Um
mhm,
I met you because, Kaleem said, "Can you do a speaking part in this, production that's happening in February for Black History Month?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds intriguing." I'm like, "Tell me more about the speaking part. What is all that?" So, and it turns out it was the Renaissance. So,
mhm.
how did you come to write that play?
Yeah, so the Renaissance, we wanted to make sure we showcase someone from the past. And so we selected Philip A. Payton Jr., and he was the real estate developer for Harlem because, of course, it has to go back to real estate because I'm a real estate agent. And he's just has such a phenomenal story that's not really told often. And so I wanted to explore doing that and bringing that to life. And so I was like, it would be cool to have like a past, present, and future situation where it's almost like a Scrooge. And so that's how your character was born. We opted for an angel.
Yes.
So you ended up being our angel, bringing Philip through the times because I wanted Philip to experience what we've experienced since 1920. A lot has happened. Our people are super resilient, and we've gone through a lot. So I wanted Philip to be able to see that and see that him pouring and him all the seeds that he planted back then that they're still alive and they're growing in a woman, Ericka Black. We're still able to do real estate development. We're still the sky's the limit. Like we're doing so much more. And it's because he paved the way for something new. And so that's what we wanted to showcase in in the Renaissance that you were able to partake in.
Yeah, I think you did a great job, and, like, as I'm hearing you talk about it, it's like you of all the people that you could have picked in real estate, you picked someone just like you.
Right. Yeah, that meant he was resilient. Like if you go back and do a little research about him, it's like, I can imagine like him just coming up with this bright idea, like, you know what, this is what I can do. And this is like it was people focused. If you really dive into that story, because he wanted to help Black Americans back then have a piece of ownership as far as home ownership. And so for him to have that desire in the 1920s and really go really hard for his people, yes, money is made. Money has to be made because we have to survive. But I can just imagine his heart. Like he had a heart for the people where he was like, no, this is Harlem. This is my Harlem. And this is what I want to do for my people. And so that's why that story resonated with me, because I feel that way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And, I was excited about the play too because like I mentioned in some of my posts, my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather, they lived in Harlem. And, my great-grandfather actually was a rector for St. Philip's, and, they had a business there, but ultimately they ended up he died and she moved to Philadelphia, so that's where
Hmm.
she died, but, because, Philadelphia really was where the Black elite lived and thrived, even though they were burning down the neighborhoods all the time,
Yeah.
'cause, speaking to the point about Black home ownership, it wasn't easy back then. They
Mhm.
were, everybody now knows about Tulsa, Oklahoma. My dad actually was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1911. So, like, I'm personally familiar with that time period just through my own family history. And,
Yeah.
they were really making it hard. So when you say resilient, I just wanna bring up the point about how there were many thriving um, Black communities. We had our own banks, even here in DC, but I
Yeah.
don't know that there's any Black banks left in DC.
We
Uh,
have industrial bank.
Industrial Bank, there's one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say resilient, it's like we do have struggles now, but the groundwork that people like Philip A. Payton Jr. paved, I mean, the things that they went through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just starting somewhere. If your ancestors or even Philip, if they didn't start, where would we be? And so that's the reason why we have to keep going. We have to keep pouring and keep telling our stories. That's really important for me, because I feel that if you know your story and you know how resilient we have been, it inspires you. Just like, what? We did what? Yeah, and that's why you have to keep going.
Yeah,
You
and that's what
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we have what we have, and so I love that you brought that to light in a creative way. There was, you had dancers, you had musicians,
Yeah.
and, you had me and Philip sitting and watching it. It's like, "Whoa," like it was a TV screen.
Yeah.
So and I love that, a lot of people can look back at history and, "Woe is me." But that's, like, that's the joy I see in you as a multidimensional being. You're like, "Wow, that's fabulous. Let's," what else can we create? Like, now we've got
Mhm.
all this technology and everything, so
Yeah.
yeah. I'm wondering, I know you also did a documentary. Tell us a little
Well, we're
about
working on the document. It's
that.
not
Okay.
quite finished. It's going to be 1022, and it's going to be in regards to the fifth little girl that people don't talk about as much. Her name is Sarah Collins Rudolph, and we wanted to explore presenting her. It's out there that she's the fifth little girl, but I wanted to get another angle on it. She survived actually the bombing. Can you imagine going to church with your sister and not coming home with her and being blind the rest of your life? Like, this woman, when you talk about someone being resilient, she is resilient and she's still amongst us. And, we wanted to just make sure we showcase that. And also, because of my background, like I was telling you with politics, we want to do some advocacy around that. I know it's been done ish, but they haven't had the Ericka way. Right. So we want to do some just do some additional work as far as showcasing that and seeing what we can actually do for that family. Because as we know, there is no reparations. Like, she has not received anything from the government at all. And so it's like, okay, what can we do? Can we influence policy, or can we talk to her local her local politicians, or even state, or even US Congress, and just pull on their heartstrings and just say, hey, this woman, she's still here, she's still standing, but she needs help.
Yeah.
Look at everything she's gone through, and we would want you to help her. There is legislation on the books in Alabama, but it's not retroactive and it doesn't go back to that period. So I would love to be able to advocate for that. Hey, you already have it in the books that you have this fund that can help people. Let's just push it back to the 1960s. Okay.
Wow.
So I'm more, yes, I'm excited about the documentary, but I'm excited about the work and the possible movement, and just people joining us, because it is something worth fighting for. And that's just one story. There are other stories that need to be told. But we are going to shed light on her. And so hopefully that documentary will be finished. We're working on it. a
When
little
it
bit later,
is.
a little bit later this year, and then we plan to have a premiere. So just be on the lookout for that, because we would love to have people to join us, because it's still a fight, receive any compensation. So we're just hoping that people will join us on that.
Yeah. Wow. So your
Mhm.
projects are not just about the entertainment and the education, but it's also about the advocacy and the movement, I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's really important. And just having my background, it's like, yeah, I get to tap into all of that. So none of this was wasted. Me getting my master's, and me being a previous politician, or whatever you want to call it. None of that stuff has been wasted. I was inspired to do it at that time, and now it's like pulling everything within me together to do these items, such as the play or even the documentary. So it's really exciting just to see my whole being, like everything pulling together to work on these projects. So it's really exciting. And I do want to note one thing, because we did an interview for the Renaissance, and in the background, in the interviewer, she was like, so what really inspired you to do all of this stuff? And some of this also is stemming from grief. I lost my mom recently, and so I would say grief also is inspiring this stuff, because one thing that was really important to my mom was just showing and spreading love. And so it's just all of that poured into these projects, which makes it even more exciting and gives me more passion behind them. So yeah, that's a little bit. So I'm excited about the documentary.
Wow. I want to give some space to, my condolences that you lost your mom. And I love that you're, I have a belief about grief because I lost my dad and my mom in consecutive years when I was 24 and 25. And I find that grief is love that has no place to go. And you've given a
Hmm.
place for your grief by pouring it into these projects and back into us. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're such a beautiful example of what you can do when you live in the frequency of love and when you actually honor the gifts that you've been given. You
Yeah.
know, when we were talking behind the scenes, you said that you in the beginning went to a school for the gifted as a child. And so there's one thing to be recognized by humans as gifted, but to be to know that from your Lord you're also gifted and to live in the fullness of that.
Mhm.
Yeah. That must be a great joy for you.
Yeah, it feels good. Just you map out your plans. You're like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to be this when I grow up. Da 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 da. And just to be here, fast forward is like, oh wow, shoot! Look at all the stuff that I've done. Look at all the things that I've accomplished, and I'm here. I've made it, and I've helped a lot of people along the way. And so I just want to continue on that journey. I'm not that old, but people are starting to call me auntie. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm old enough where people are calling me auntie. And I just want to, my whole thing is leaving a legacy. I want people to realize the impact that I'm making and continue on a journey. I want to be like Philip.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look at Ericka. I want to inspire people and just show them what they can do as long as they put their heart and soul into it. And of course, you have to keep God first, but yeah, just keep going, whatever it is.
So if people want to invest in your projects and connect with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so if people want to invest in any of the projects, I'm gonna just put my number out there. I guess that would be easiest. It's 202-670-6677. That's my number. My website is intheblack.club, and that's COUB. You can reach out to me that way. And on all platforms, I'm Ericka S. Black. That's one way people can reach out.
Okay. I'm going to put this in here, in the black
Yeah, In the Black.
.club.
In the Black also, yeah, .club is the website.
Okay.
There are Instagrams and Facebooks for that too, but I didn't want to complicate things.
Yeah. And then in the comments, I was putting your phone number. So 202
670-6677. So if anyone's interested in, volunteering, helping, giving resources, we're definitely open to that. Not on this island by myself.
Yeah.
I want the help. I want other people to be inspired to help. Right. So we're definitely open to that. And other project ideas. Like, I don't know it all. I mean, if there's something else that people think is exciting that we should explore, then I'm open to that. And of course, resources, if people know of other grants, or, if you're a grant writer, you can't give no money. If you're a grant writer and you just want to loan some of your skills, like, I'm looking into grants and things that we can apply for, because at the end of the day, resources do matter, and we can get more done with resources. So yeah, just loan your skills, even if it's just a couple of hours. Like, hey, Eric, I'll do some research. Here's a list of different grants that you should consider applying for as a Black woman. I'm open to it all.
I love that. And so I've put in the scrolling banner below your website, in the black.club, and the comments, at least on YouTube, the phone number and the website also.
Okay.
Yeah, please reach out to Ericka, support her projects, and look out for 10/22.
Yeah, 10/22. I'm so excited about the premiere. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I have like so many ideas in my head of how it will go down. So
Is it
yeah.
happening in Alabama, or will it be here?
Yes, it will be in Alabama, and it's going to be a show. Like, it's gonna. I want the red carpet. Like, I want everything. I want her. I want it to be a celebratory moment for her. So I'm just excited about just piecing it together in my head and like actually having it to come to fruition. So I can't wait until we finish the documentary so I can do that part of it.
Amazing.
I can't wait.
Thank you
We'll also have it here. We'll also, have display it here as well, but it will be in Alabama as far as the premiere.
Yeah, of course. So we should have 2 red carpets.
Well, hey, we said resources.
Yes.
Yeah. This guy, I mean, I'm open. We'll see. We're
Yeah.
open to it all.
For sure.
Yeah.
So is there any last words you want to share with anyone who may be watching and they've been, told, "Oh, you're a realtor, just be a realtor." Like, what would you say to encourage them to lean into all of who they are?
I would say if it's in your heart to do, just do it. Even if you're afraid, even if your heart is afraid, just do it. The sky, I don't even say the sky is the limit. Beyond the sky is the limit. So you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. So, and you're a creator. So the creator created you to create. So always remember that. So if it's just something that's a burning desire, don't let resources, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. Just go for it. Go for it and start where you find yourself. And someone will meet you along that path to guide you to where you need to be. So just don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. That was long, but just don't give up.
It was exactly what people needed to hear. Yeah. So thank you so much, Erica, for being here this morning with us. And for those of you who have been watching or are listening, share this with another heart, share this with another soul, and don't live another day allowing yourself to miss the subtleties that make up your life. Choose joy.